Blues music is an American traditional music, and it has some grooves, and it has the the dominant chord. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I grew up with blues music. And so I had a real deep connection with it because I feel like it's like kind of the roots of, my childhood. So I always loved it. I always loved the groove of it and how I felt towards it. So it was a good connection.
It's really different. It's something you have to like understand more so to be able to play it well.
I enjoy blues music a lot. I don't listen to a lot of older blues artists, but some more contemporary blues artists I listen to a lot, and that's kind of where I based my guitar playing off of.
I think blues is the most classiest kind of genre of music there is.
I think the blues music is necessary for people to relate to.
I enjoy the solos and the vocals, especially of our ensemble. This semester we had some good musicians who kept them, who it was fun to play along with, and I guess I just enjoy bluesy, funky music.
I believe that it's got some soulful connection to it behind the showmanship and everything there. It's the backbone of what, poverty and something to relate to along that lines. It's a soul cry is what the blues is, and that's why it's relatable.
Well, they always have different soloing. It's always a big solo kind of thing. Chord patterns are usually the same, but I think soloing's a big thing that makes it difficult.
Yeah, in the soloing, yeah, yeah, I can use the blues scale. Yeah, so yeah, and the chords of the blues. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow. I think the one of the things that I mostly learned is my biggest challenge was being a part of a band. That was a biggest challenge for me because as a vocalist, it's I have to make cues, I have to remember solos, and I need to make sure we caught off, we sing on time, or we cut off on time, and so that was the biggest challenge for me. But it was also a really great experience because I'd never done it before, and I'm like, wow, it was it's a refreshing kind of feeling, that responsibility is a big responsibility, but when when you can control it, it's like, oh wow, it's a great feeling. So
I learned to branch into older blues artists. I learned playing with the band a lot more. I've played a little bit with the band and done a little bit, but it was fun to have strict rehearsals other than just jam bands where we just kind of hang out and jam. It's a structural ensemble, which was fun. It's nice.
Well, one thing is you gotta keep the time and make sure don't rush, because the drummer, it's pretty easy to rush in blues music, especially because you have to keep the pattern going. Usually it's a shuffle, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes you can get screwed up between 1 and 2 and instead of the 1 and 2. It's like more of a swing feel. And the second thing is blues follows a certain 12-bar blues form or pattern. Most blues songs, sometimes they don't have to, but definitely I wish you divide into 3 different parts, 4 bars each. And so for the drummer, it's important to make sure you signal before each part is changing, so you can do a small fill to make sure the rest of the band knows that you move to the next chord.
Know your stuff. It's hard to keep everybody to know their stuff. Carry a metronome. Have fun. It's all about fun.
I did enjoy doing some blues solos for a couple of songs, which was fun because I've never really thought about a blues solo. Usually I do like faster solos or like solos where there's no space, but in blues especially you need to keep the space between each hit, when you play. So I think I learned about space, which is important.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, to learn the blues organ. Yeah. It was very nice opportunity. Yeah, for me. Yeah, so it was my first time to perform the traditional blues. Yeah.
Well, I learned a lot more blues than I ever knew before. I never listened to much blues before, so it was cool learning some blues songs. I really liked "Wrong Woman." I liked those verses, melodies.
The studio experience was really interesting to be on. Being a production major, being on the other end. And I learned a lot about how you want to treat your clients versus when you're working in the studio, just doing your job and recording, other than actually treating the people like your friends and making them comfortable.
The recording was fun. I like working in studios, so that was fun to do and be able to hear it back instead of being the one playing it. It's always a different thing being able to hear it instead of just playing it.
Well, first at the recording studio, that was the first time that I had ever recorded vocals by myself. So I got to, when I heard after the first recording, how I heard how my voice sound and the tone and the pitches and things like that, and what I needed to change, or what I needed to alter, that was it was a little bit different for me.
The studio was very technical. It's very little room for error. I'll say that. Everybody's got to be on point. You think you want your best performance to be on stage, but you do as a performance, but you want your best playing in the studio, and that's key there.
In the recording studio, I think it went well. Usually, it takes a few more takes to get the whole song going, but we got in, I think, 3 takes, which was pretty good. And one thing before I used to record with keeping all the tracks up at the same volume almost with the drums up. But this time I put everything else down, kept the click up and the bass up and the drums, so that helped me keep the time better and made me feel better. So I learned from that, and now I know that I should focus when I'm recording, focus on the click, which is the most important thing.
We rehearsed so many times, but I think we made some of the mistakes on the stage. Yeah, that's the experience for the future. Yeah, when I play.
I don't know. It's always a good experience to play anything. Wherever the venue had like the mixing board. There was a old system.
This is Minnesota Music Cafe. That was fun. That was just cool to get up there and just let loose. And any mistakes came along. That's another thing I learned, is how to roll with mistakes, not just stop the whole thing. You just got to keep going with it. A lot of mistakes happened, but nobody knew about them except for us. So.
Performance at the Music Cafe was unlike any performance I've been at. It was structured. There was a good sound crew. I've done a lot of gigs that were unstructured, and learning to play on a set and not show any mistakes to the audience, to just go with it and improvise, but still put on a show.
On stage, there are a couple of hiccups, but the thing is the band kept going and no one stopped really, and I think the flow was smooth, people were smiling in the audience.
I have performed a few times on a stage, but with a band, that's different. That's a big deal, and us opening at the same time, and so it was a bunch of pressure, but it was so much fun. It didn't matter what kind of mistakes we made, as long as we were there together, as long as we were having fun and we were in the moment. I felt like that was the most important part, and we got into it and we had fun, and it didn't matter what happened last. So those were the 2 experiences that I really appreciated. So.